known for saying a lot of things. I speak my mind. I am not a censored person, and I'm not afraid to speak. But I don't speak ignorance either. One of the main questions that trouble a lot of people is I was doing a New Yorker conference, the New Yorker magazine. I was doing a conference there, and the question came up that why are hip-hoppers not more interested in the war on terror or on terrorism, or is there anything that hip-hop can do to fight this war on terror, is what I was asked. I responded first by saying, these are not my views that I'm about to say, but I do represent a people. So let me put my personal bias or personal opinion aside and become a leader and represent people, more of a collective consciousness. What I then said was, when 9/11 happened, we cheered when 9/11 happened. Now, why would I say something like that? Thousands of lives were lost. It's a terrible event. But of course, my words were taken out of context. The Post, I think it was the Daily News, one of these, printed that I just said in a statement, we cheered when 9/11 happened. That's the devil. First of all, no one cheered when 9/11 happened except the people that did the work. But when you are living in New York City in immense oppression, police brutality, low housing, or poor housing, no health care, no education, no job, and you see the world's trade center fall, it's not cheering for the death of people that you are cheering, but you're cheering for a change in the way business is done every day. And literally, a change in the way business is done. We don't know who knocked the towers down. It seemed like an inside job. But what we do know is that when we used to live in the World Trade Center, I was a homeless man for many years and used to ride the E train from Queens into the Trade Center and back to Queens and back to the Trade Center. The World Trade Center that is glamorized now in history is not the World Trade Center that stood in history. And the people that I represent are the voiceless, the ones that got kicked out of the Trade Center, the ones that were ripped off by the Trade Center and the executives there. So let's just be clear. We could never cheer the death of innocent people. Never. That can never happen. But cheer is not even what we did. In fact, I was even speaking symbolically, not literally, as I just explained. We saw things change, and we were happy about the change, not about the death of people. In my early days, I wore the mantle of a warrior. You couldn't pay me to fight for hip hop, but you could ask me to, and many people did. This resulted in some of the historical battles in hip hop. Myself and MC Shan, myself and Melly Mel, myself and MC Poet, PM Dawn, X-Clan, and Nelly. These battles in hip hop are not to be taken as violent confrontations, even though some were. PM Dawn said in a magazine, KRS-One wants to be a teacher, but a teacher of what? And then he went on to disrespect Public Enemy and NWA. This was part of an ongoing thing that was going on in the early 90s, that you feel that you could step up and diss the pioneers because you have a platinum record out. This is an ongoing thing in hip hop. The young kids make a little money and all of a sudden, no, I'm the one. Well, that got checked. Back when I was a warrior and really wasn't trying to hear anything else except hip hop, those who came out and dissed me, or especially Public Enemy, these are the people that we met physically. And unfortunately, PM Dawn was met physically by myself and our tribe and was thrown off the stage. It wasn't me that physically threw him off the stage, but I'll let those names remain anonymous. But I was the leader at the time, so I take the blame. I took the blame, and although I still agree with my actions to this day, I did apologize for them. And to this day, it's one of the embarrassing moments of my life. The battle with MC Shan to this day is what created my career. Back in the days, you couldn't just come out and say you was the best and put out a video and you was the best. When hip hop first began, you had to prove every word out your mouth. You couldn't just say, oh, I'm the greatest, and put out a marketing plan or buy an award or buy Billboard magazine and suddenly you the greatest. No, you had to actually walk up on the greatest and challenge, or be challenged by the greatest. This is what led to my early battles. MC Shan was the greatest, is the greatest. Marley Marl, still the greatest. Roxanne Shante, still the greatest. Rest in peace, Mr. Magic, who no DJ would have a job on radio today if it wasn't for Mr. Magic. Again, the greatest. The label they created, Cold Chillin' Records, the greatest. Their group, the Juice Crew, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Biz Markie, all greats. KRS-One has taken nothing from their greatness. In fact, it is their greatness that added to me. I'm humbled before these names that I just mentioned. Humbled, not exalted, humbled. Because if they did not accept the challenge that I put forward, I would not be here. So I say with all humility, and I'm not just saying this now, look at past interviews. I've said this from the day I started in battling. If it wasn't for MC Shan, KRS-One would never exist.